Sorry everyone, the camera has stopped for a minute, so let's start reading. Wake, my lord, she said. Wake up. Yes, the king said, lifting his head. We're near Catholics, said Carnival. We must walk a short way now. Arthur sat up and looked around. Then he ran his fingers through his hair. Yes, he said faintly, we must walk from here. First, drink this, the queen said, lifting the flask to the king's lips. And Jack had wondered how much of the healing water from Evelyn was left. He hoped they had enough for the whole journey. Annie had climbed down to the cart bench and grabbed Oki. After Arthur drank from the flask, King Arthur took the queen's arm, and the two of them started walking slowly down the path. As Jack and Annie followed the royal couple through the shifting shadows of the forest, silver leaves on the interlacing tree branches rustled in the wind. Jack smelled wood smoke. Soon they crossed the sagged footbridge over to the stream and came to the clearing with a small stone hut. A fence of wood sticks ring into the yard. Chimney smoke swirled through the afternoon air. The queen had opened the gate, and she and Arthur crossed the hut. Carnival knocked on the door. A moment later, an old woman wrapped in the shawl stood in the doorway. She had a long white braid of the luminous skin worn smooth by the weather and the time like an ancient stone. The woman's eyes were closed. With the start, Jack realized Kathleen was blind. At her side was a tall white dog with light blue eyes. Oki didn't bark or whine. The peaceful gaze of a white dog seemed to keep him calm. Greetings, Kathleen. We have come to seek your help, raised King Arthur. Kathleen bowed her head. Welcome, your majesty, she said. And the queen has come with you this time, yes? Yes, Kathleen. Carnival touched the blind woman's arm. Welcome, dear lady, said Kathleen. And there are others with you as well, children? Yes, Jack and Annie, said the queen. Annie, the seer, reached out, and Annie took her hand. I see you well, Annie, Kathleen said with her eyes still closed. You love all animals, you speak your mind, and are quick and courageous. Sometimes, both you're moved too swiftly. You lack patience. That's right, that's me, Annie said with a smile. And Jack? Kathleen turning to him. Jack took the seer's hand. You're very thoughtful and elegant, Jack, she said. You love books and knowledge. Sometimes drove you too much, and you do not act quickly enough. Yes, that's me, said Jack. Oki barked. And this is our dog, Oki, said Annie. She held out the puppy, and the blind woman patted his hand. Oki, you're very, very happy and lively dog, very curious and willful, the seer said with a smile. She pointed to the blue-eyed dog in the side. And this is my key. She's old like me. She can't hear, she can't see, so we must rely on another. Cool, said Annie. carefully, then held both her hands out of the King Arthur and took them in his. "Come inside, my lord," she said. "You have been wounded." "Yes, I have," the king said. Carefully and Key stepped back into the stone hut, and the others followed, stepped onto the worn wooden floor. And inside, Jack could barely see anything. There were no windows or no lanterns. After carefully closed the door, the fire from the hearth of 2 candles, all that illuminated into the one-room hut. Once Jack got used into the dim light, he was amazed how easily carefully moved about with Key at her side. The blind woman put a wooden bench close to the hearth, added kindling and logs to the fire, and pork with a stick until flames shot into the air. "Pray sit down," carefully said, turning back to her visitors. Jack and Nanny joined Arthur and Gonaville to the bench, carefully set on a low stool near into the blazing fire. He sat beside her. "Tell me, what do you seek now, my lord?" carefully asked King Arthur. The king leaned forward into the half circle of firelight. "The 19th dragon was stolen from Morgan's garden," she said. "Oh," carefully said, "I understood. You need the 19th dragon, my lord, to cross to Avalon." "Oh, I do indeed, wise friend," he said. Carefully nodded without another word. She stood up and opened the door. Key joined her at the doorstone, and then 2 stood together facing to the woods inside. Key's silky white fur glimpsed into the silver light as the dog have looked into the deep forest. "Write down what she says," Annie whispered. Jack reached under his cloak and took off his backpack. He pulled out his pencil and notebook and opened to the blank page, ready to write down to our seer's prophecy. Key joined her as reassured. "Oh, wow. This is Calfee, and this dog is Key. The Key can't hear and can't look, and Calfee is blind, like Key too. And Key is very old, like Calfee. So there's almost same." For a long moment, all was quiet except for the gentle rustling of the trees. Gradually drove the sound of the leaves, and the wind grew louder and louder until it seemed as if the forest was shouting its secrets to the blind woman. And then the forms of a wind lessened. The whispering and rustling grew softer until the hush fell over to the forest. No one moved as they waited for Kathleen to tell them what the leaves had said. Now is chapter 6, Riddle of the Forest, and maybe tomorrow we begin the new stories when we have a lot of time to read all of this today's afternoon. And when I can't read all of them, then tomorrow we get this book and these stories same like today. Oh, not this story because it might be a new chapter to read, okay? Now please don't leave my YouTube. Have a nice day. Bye!